Hello friends, it's been a hot minute since I posted. I know, I swear for the past 2 weeks I've been trying to make videos, but walls just kept blocking me. I have multiple unfinished scripts and video ideas sitting in my storage, and I finally have some content that I can post. That being said, I want to start with a special thank you to my TikTok mutual, my favorite TikTok mutual because she's the sweetest and she's awesome, PHDHSH, because today's video is going to be about an art challenge that we did. I'm going to explain a little bit why I was gone for so long and what happened to me. I'm going to talk about the sketch I gave her, the sketch she gave me, a little about our characters, and a little bit about my process. And obviously, at the end, we can't forget, I'm going to glaze the heck out of what she did. When I was hitting roadblock after roadblock trying to get some content together for you guys, I genuinely refused to give up. First, I wanted to try drawing my Sona and other styles again, but I honestly gave up after the third style. It was at this point I realized I had art block, and I decided to announce that I was going to take a week-long break. After my break, I started gathering more ideas and decided to do more content with other people's characters because, you know, you guys love that stuff, and those videos usually do the best. And I have 2 different art pieces sitting in my tablet's storage collecting dust currently because I'm missing information to put in my script. I had asked 2 of my friends to give me their OCs and an environment to put them in. My plan was to practice background art so I can hopefully get better at it, and I figured while I'm at it, I'll put people's OCs in whatever environment they want. By the way, I still have 6 slots open if you want to apply for that. That's still something that's going on if you want to apply for that. So I did, and I got OC lore from one of them. However, my second friend happens to be a rather busy person. That being said, I have half of the script written for that video, which I will finish eventually when that friend sends me their OC lore. And I'm not gonna rush said friend either. He already has a lot on his plate, and who am I to add to that stress? So after I hit that wall, I honestly started to panic, because by this point, a minimum of a month had passed since I posted content. And I not only felt terrible for not posting, but I was also itching to get back to it. I was begging for an idea to hit me in the head, and then I got it. I had remembered a video I once saw of an art challenge where 2 artists rendered each other's sketches, and I knew I needed to do it. So since I already had content from my friends sitting in a vault, I decided to reach out to someone else. Someone I've interacted with before. The first person to draw me fan art. So I contacted my mutual PHDHSH and we got to work. Now, before we get into the sketch that I sent her and a little bit about my original character, I want to put a verbal trigger / content warning here. I am about to show my OC's reference sheet, and it does include healed self-harm scars. I'll put a time on the screen if you want to skip seeing that kind of stuff. I will also be talking about family death, childhood emotional neglect, self-harm, and mental illness, so you can skip to this time if you want to miss these topics entirely. This is her. Chandler's lore is currently still in progress and unfinished, but I want her story to resonate with people, so I'm going to tell you everything I have on her currently. Chandler was brought into this world by 2 parents who were extremely excited to have a daughter. Unfortunately, her mother died shortly after birth due to post-birth hemorrhaging, leaving a hole in her father's heart. He becomes rather indifferent about his newborn daughter. He's not abusive or hateful, but he's not loving or caring. That being said, Chandler grew up rather lonely. No friends, no real relationship with her father, no contact with her extended family. Just her. This emotional and mental isolation caused distress internally, manifesting as multiple mental illnesses like depression, anxiety, and a currently unspecified mood disorder, which I will specify eventually, I just don't know what it is, okay? Let me figure it out. These mental illnesses did cause her to indulge in self-harm, as it was the only way she felt she could take away her pain. But later down the line in life, as in her current design, which you saw on the screen, she stopped. Not because she wanted to get clean, but because it stopped working. Her story in the set timeline I have starts with her months clean from self-harm, and this is where you really start to notice her lore is unfinished because it goes from her being clean to her making 2 friends, and then it stops there. I'm still figuring her out. And this is the sketch that I sent PH. A couple of fine details I want to point out are the sticky notes on her wall that says "Drink beer, kiss chicks," this band poster that's supposed to resonate with some kind of metal genre, and this book she's reading where this page asks, "What is a girl?" and the other page that explains how to kiss a girl. As for PH's sketch, this is what she sent me. I want to add another content warning because there will be visuals of blood, not gore or anything crazy, but just in case some of you get squeamish looking at blood, here's your warning. There is going to be a lot of it on this character. This is supposed to be a redesign of her OC RH, otherwise known as Rageheart, and if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that the moment I heard redesign, I was down to clown in Art Town. By the way, if you haven't seen the TikTok I did about redesigning her other OC, PH, aka Princess Heart, aka Princess Diana Quartz Heart, you should go check that out. And speaking of, perhaps some of you need a refresher on this OC world that PH created, so just as a small recap. 4 sisters were told by their parents to conquer a new planet. They ended up killing almost everybody to start new, but 2 of the sisters ended up falling in love with the planet and then vowing to protect it. The other 2 sisters weren't as in love yet, one of them being Rageheart. RH is a representation of revenge and justice and is the youngest of her sisters, being the last to emerge from her stasis pod with her twin being in critical condition right off the bat as well. The scientists that had been creating them realized that there was something rather monstrous about these sisters. They were created for 2 purposes: to act as the king and queen's daughters and to become weapons that could conquer worlds. But oh me, oh my, they created weapons and then got surprised when the weapons acted like weapons. Especially in Rageheart's case, the king and queen disliked her so much that they felt the need to carve an everlasting smile into her face. Later down the line, RH's sisters, Princess Heart and Swap Heart, tried to convince her that the planet that they were currently conquering was worth fighting for, that it was a place where people could be free, and that they were going to protect it. Rageheart decided that maybe some much-needed healing could come from protecting this planet. Healing that starts in the form of an excuse, doing it for the planet, just so she had a reason to go back to her home planet and unleash hell. After finally being convinced, all of the sisters returned to their home planet to fight a war in the name of freedom, absolutely brutally obliterating all the scientists in that lab. But the king and queen were able to escape, unfortunately. After the war was over, the sisters went back to the planet they wanted to protect, camping out in the woods, finding friends along the way, and building their own kingdoms. Rageheart, feeling healed after her revenge, killed the last innocent thing that she ever would. Keyword innocent, but more on that in a second. She killed a jackalope so that the people that had started to worship her and her sisters had something to eat. Along their journey, Rageheart met someone who had similar ideals to her, a mercenary named Conla. They would both go out and just annihilate evil. But Conla didn't like that RH would kill the evil, being an advocate for jail time instead. They often argued about this, and unfortunately for Conla, she ended up falling in love with RH despite their differences in arguments. Every altercation made Conla feel like she was losing Rageheart. One day they get in a massive disagreement and stopped doing things together like they had been previously, and by that time RH had already been seeing someone, a man by the name of Shield, making Conla feel burned by this revelation. But you know, at least things were getting peaceful. Rageheart still does what she thinks is necessary for their kingdoms to thrive. She ends up getting married to Shield, rules over her own village, and becomes the cool auntie to her sister's kids. Fun fact, almost every axe that she has received has been a gift from her nieces and nephews. Rageheart's lore compared to my girl Chandler's lore is absolutely insane. I need to step up my lore game. Now I'm gonna be honest. While I was rendering this sketch, I do think I got carried away in some parts. I didn't change any of the design itself, but I added a lot of details to things that didn't need them. Like the gem details, the little bows from her bandages, the little hair details, and I even shifted the position of her right elbow. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I am a sucker for heavy detail. For the actual rendering, as in the shading and lighting, I thought it would be really cool if it looked like a bright light was being pointed at her. Bonus points, because I made the background a dark field so it doesn't draw too much light from the light source, therefore illuminating her very illuminating her very nicely. And since this was supposed to be a reference for a redesign, I do have 3 different versions of this drawing drawing, flat color with blood, and full render. In total, this render took me 6 hours, or in the span of 2 days. I cannot express to you the joy and whimsy that came out of me rendering this. I was desperate to draw something, to make content, so being able to render this was super fun. Thank you again to my favorite moot, PHDHSH. I love working with her, and I think you should go check her out, by the way. Speaking of PH, let's see how things went on her end. Holy, gorgeous, wow. I'm blushing and kicking my feet right now. I cannot behold the sheer amount of talent that is in front of me. She did so amazing. Wow. I'm gonna be staring at this for days. She even added references, which is so damn cool. She added a Metal Family reference in the poster. Amity and Luz from the Owl House are on the How to Kiss Girls page. I love the color and the pattern that she decided to go with for my OC's shirt, because I didn't give her any clothing references. I literally just gave her a sketch and I was like, do what you want with it. So I was really surprised to see that the colors she picked out for my OC were super cute and super fitting her super well. Just the sheer amount of detail and texture in this render is absolutely amazing. Come on. This is so cool. PH did an amazing job. Please go check her out, seriously. And that is all the content I have for you today. Let's hope no more roadblocks come up, because I am weak-willed and prone to giving up. LMFAO. See you in the next one, friend. Bye-bye. Her status. No. There's so many tongue twisters in this script. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna kill over and die. 4 sisters were told by their parents. Thanks. I'm just gonna turn Do Not Disturb on. RH. Other one knows.
Other wine knows?
Ah! No! My phone fell over.